Uh, Daniel, you asked a question. Let me read your question. You say, "Good evening, sir. I'd like to ask what your thought process is when you want to utilize light in your designs and some tips on how to use it properly." All right. So one thing is there's a lot of topic around graphics design that helps light to be light, like to be effective on a design. Okay, that's what I just snapped at my blackboard because of my whiteboard rather, because it was a class yesterday with my students. So it's for me like it's not something I can just see on a voice note and you get it. But you only get the tips. From the tips you have to do your study, and from your study you have to get more knowledge. First of all, there are things surrounding lights and shades. It is that the simplest thing is the drawing at the middle. Okay, that when the light is shining from one end or one angle, the shadow is casted on the opposite angle or the opposite end. Okay, so that's the simplest form of light and shades. Okay, light comes from one end, the shade goes to the other end. Depending on the angle of light, it determines the angle of the shadow. Okay, depending on the intensity of the light, it also affects the intensity of the shadow. Okay, more light is less shadow, less light is more shadow. If you just look at it that when there's more light, there's less darkness, and when there's less light, there's more darkness. So if you understand these uh, analogies, you'll be able to uh, flow through with design. A step further from that basic knowledge is when there are two or more lights casting on an object. It means that shadows will be more than one. Two or more lights is more shadows. Now, every light has its intensity, which is power. If you use Blender, you when you want to increase light in Blender, it's power. You say increase the power. So when you increase the power, you get more effect of the light. Okay, but for other things, I don't know any other program, it's just like for you to increase light and all that. Okay, so like Photoshop, you do lighting artificially. It's artificial. It's not something that if you just put light, if you are doing a 3D program, once you put light, your shadow is casted automatically. But you are using a non 3D program, you are designing with 2D, you create the shadow and create the light. You understand? It's not like you apply light, then the shadow has been fixed. You increase the intensity of the light, the shadow complies. Okay, so like I said, a step above the basics is two or more light. Two or more light is shadows coming in different angles or going in different angles, and depending on the angles of the light. Like the diagram you see there is a sun casting on an object, and we also have an overhead lamp casting on the object. So, but the sun is more intense, and it's different from that of what's it called, street lights, kind of. Okay, it's different. So the intensity of the street light may not act so much on the object in producing a good shadow, but it will just be there. So you have to create the illusion that there is another light coming from somewhere, and so there's a small shadow, there's a small amount of shadow